Apologies for that false start. Morning, everyone.
Entirely my
Thank
fault.
thank you very much for joining us for our webinar this morning. Apologies, little audio issue there. Somebody left their laptop connected to their headset.
Who was that bit?
I don't know. We'll be on the naughty step.
Should we blame Raf?
Yeah. I think that's absolutely fine. I think we've just got a few little stragglers joining us a little bit late. If you can just bear with us for a minute, we'll just give a little bit longer to let the last people have a second to join, and we'll be with you very shortly. Andy, did you practice your jokes from last week? We thought we'd prepare some jokes.
Yeah, I got told off for dad jokes last week. So
Okay.
I'm Raf's dad now. I'm that old.
Note to self: we must practice. Have some jokes ready.
Yeah, or some maybe bring my acoustic guitar in.
Yeah,
Serenade everybody.
Get the guitar. Sound like David Brent.
Whoa, this is not a compliment.
I know.
I reckon we go.
Cool. Excellent. There are still some people joining, but the interesting bits don't get going until the next couple of slides. So
It's really interesting. What are you saying?
sorry. Yeah. Anyway, morning, everyone. Sorry. It's Thursday. We're getting to the end of the week, and hysterics are starting to set in.
A bit mad.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for joining us. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Helen Rannigan. I'm the marketing manager here at Pragma.
I'm Andy Herring, the product manager.
Absolutely. We're doing a little double act for you today. We're really excited about this webinar, this launch. It's been coming and being planned for quite some time. We've both been very heavily involved in it, and we're really delighted to have the opportunity to talk to you about everything that's happening in the next cloud update, which is cloud version 6. One of the things that we are seeing through, oh God, it's all going wrong, through all of the updates that we're getting from Ericsson LG. For those of you that have been working with us for a lot longer, you'll know that we have major releases and minor releases throughout the year. This is without doubt a major release, and one of the biggest that we've had in absolutely ages. The other thing that happens to go hand in hand is updates that happen to the core cloud platform itself, the underlying features and functionality of this exists within the cloud, and that has a knock-on effect to features and functionality that get added into iPECS 1 and iPECS Analytics. And there's loads in this. There are lots and lots of features that are foundations within the iPECS cloud platform that then get taken across into iPECS 1 and Analytics. And we're going to take you through all of that today, and you'll see the theme as it evolves, and we take you through each of the slides here.
And I think it's probably also worth saying at that point that whilst we're going to go through the launch, we're not going to be going into sort of training level detail. So we would expect that our account managers will be following up on this
absolutely
at some point over the next few weeks to dive into it in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, and it also, in addition to that, is technical webinars. I think that we have a bit of a mixed audience today, and Josh and Llewellyn and the team have scheduled some technical webinars. We'll be getting an official launch mailer out following this webinar with dates for those technical webinars for you to get registered on as well. That will give you the absolute detail in terms of programming and how to make all of this work once people go out and get selling it, which is really good.
Yep.
So without further ado, Andy, I'm going to hand over to you. Tell us about this. Is the iPECS core features, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think, as you've just alluded to, you know, all of these updates, there's a sort of a foundation within what we would call the core, the cloud, which particularly in this release, more than any that we've seen in the past, there's significant overlap between all of those three areas that we just looked at on the other slide. So you've got sort of core stuff happening in the in the iPECS cloud, which is there to then support in turn stuff that we're doing on iPECS 1 and also stuff that we're doing on iPECS Analytics. So I'll come back to the first point here, but you know, don't want to go into all of these in a huge amount of detail, but I think to pick out some stuff here, you'll already start seeing the ACD theme running through this. So, you know, the adding of things like break reason codes in here, being able to reset the timer when you've finished a call. So if you've not got long enough after a call, the agent's able to reset the timer, and some more skill-based stuff going on at an ACD group level. From a core features point of view, I guess the thing to pick out on those 3 points really is the call recording audit trail. So having a full audit trail within the call recordings on the system. But I think for me, the one biggie.
You've been a tease, aren't you? Coming back to the really exciting one.
But I think it like with any presentation you do, I think you've always got to be aware of the fact there's limited information that people take away first time. So I think my view here is if you take nothing else away from this slide, the first point here, which is the callback from queue. So being able to within the standard platform within an ACD group have the ability to be able to present callers with the opportunity to opt out of that queue. So you're given the opportunity to get a call back. We also hold the place in queue at that point as well.
Yeah.
We have to be a little bit careful about this in terms of where we would see this being used, because it's a very much seen as an NHS type function.
Yeah.
And just that everybody knows, I think a lot of our partners on this call will probably already be aware of this, but with the whole change recently about the NHS framework and all the rules and regulations that are being put in place there, just to let everybody know, we are investigating what we need to do as a business, who we need to work with to go down that path, because we do see it as important. But it's not a quick process, as I'm sure you'd expect with our beloved NHS and all the hoops that we have to jump through. But
I think arguably anybody queuing for a service would benefit from having that as an option. If it's a service that you're having to wait for and queue for a period of time, to be able to take the option to have your position held in the queue, so that and you get to the front of the queue, you get a call back rather than just sitting on the phone. I think there's many examples of customers where that is a fantastic opportunity.
And I think the reason I just flagged that though is because I know a lot of people on this call will have at some point been talking to us about the NHS opportunity. So just wanted to let everybody know we are looking at it. With the view to seeing what we can do. I think one thing to point out here, by the way, is feel free to put questions in the chat as we go through. Won't necessarily do them as we go, but what we'll do, we'll get to them at the end and try and answer as much as we can.
I can see there's one in the chat already. We'll have a look at that as we go. I was also just going to point, kind of highlight here as well that, obviously the ACD functionality that's embedded within the cloud platform is good. We're having it strengthened significantly through this release, but there's still a difference between what we're going to be able to do with iPECS Cloud and Contact, which is our contact center as a service solution that we introduced earlier this year. And I think it's interesting and maybe useful to touch on that as well before we get into the detail.
No, I agree. And I think, where we're trying to get to with the portfolio as a whole is when it comes to that kind of contact center look and feel, we're able to give options from the sort of low level informal contact center where you want that kind of ACD type routing, but with a few bells and whistles on top of it. But absolutely, if there's hardcore full on contact center solutions, we would definitely be pushing people down the route of contact.
And I think also, just to reiterate that, our sales team are obviously highly trained in all of this, and if you've got any customer opportunities that you're not really sure what the most appropriate product is to offer, pick up the phone, speak to the team. They'll help you understand the questions to ask. If you need them to come to a customer meeting or even do an online meeting to help verify and make sure that you're quoting the right solution, they'll work with you on that. There's nothing like learning with a live opportunity and making sure that you learn as you go. So absolutely engage in the sales team, and they'll work with you on that.
Oh, great.
Done that page?
Yes.
So moving on to iPECS 1. iPECS 1 is going to have its a major update here in its look and feel. So over on the left hand side, you'll see the old icon for iPECS 1, and in the center you'll see the nice new icon for iPECS 1. So a complete rebrand of iPECS 1 for the desktop and for the mobile application. If you go to the App Store now, that is the icon that you will see when you log into iPECS 1 after the update. You'll see that from the desktop as well. So I think a really refreshed look and feel. I don't think it's particularly tired in what it looks like, but it is nice to have a much more up-to-date and modern look and feel, which is really great. I'm going to point a couple of other things out here that are covered on the next slide, but I'll steal some of your thunder. So firstly, on the login page, you'll see at the bottom there's a button that says sign in with Microsoft. So a new feature being added into iPECS 1 is the single sign in using your Microsoft login details, which is a really good step forward. And on the right hand side, you'll see that the dial pad there is in black. So iPECS 1 will now also be able to recognize if you're using the dark or light mode on your PC, and be able to replicate that in the way that it looks when you open it up.
I think maybe we'll just move on to the next slide, but a thing to point out from the previous slide you was on with regards to the Microsoft login, I think we get asked quite regularly about what we're doing about multi-factor authentication within the cloud platform. And I think the short answer to that is we're not actually delivering anything directly in cloud around multi-factor authentication. But I think the point here is, if you've got multi-factor authentication set up with Microsoft, as a lot of businesses do now, including us, that kind of serves that purpose there, because if you're using that login option and you've got multi-factor authentication set up, it's already been you've kind of ticked that box. So yes, so I think you've touched on it right at the beginning. We mentioned it in the core features, but again, you can see this ACD theme coming through here again into iPECS 1. So we talked about the reason codes. They flow through, obviously, because if you're an ACD agent, you're going to be able to use those and see those within iPECS 1. We mentioned about the wrap-up timer as well. Again, that flows through because as the agent, you're going to have access to be able to use that refresh option. We'll touch on it in a bit more detail when we get there, but you're really seeing a sort of overlap here between the elements of the portfolio. So there's some really interesting stuff around call control from an analytics point of view. All about being a supervisor of an ACD group and being able to do certain functions, which we'll talk about when we get there. But from an agent perspective, you've got the ability to request whisper coaching from within iPECS 1. You've got the ability to request being monitored as well. I'm not sure how many agents are going to want to be request to be monitored, but the option's there should you want it as well. We've got some stuff going on around how pop-up is managed within CRM integration, and a couple of other bits. I say quite minor, but we've expanded the personal directory size, and you also they've changed the way that call pickup notifications are being handled, with a lot more visual information when a call pickup is managed through iPECS 1 in the new version. Looks like Josh is actually already answering a few questions.
I was just going to say, I can see there's quite a few messages coming in. And
thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
And yes, sorry, then from an integration and collaboration perspective, we've already touched on the single sign-on, but it's worth pointing out that with this upgrade, we now have support for Microsoft Edge browser, should anybody
crazy enough to use it.
But then we've also got one key feature here, which I know a lot of people have asked about and been waiting for a while, and that's deeper integration to Outlook by means of, with this launch, go into your calendar, set up a calendar invite. You'll then have a button within Outlook that will allow you to convert that meeting to an iPECS 1 meeting. So just want to be clear on this. It's not exactly the same experience as you'd get with something like, I don't know, WebEx or Zoom, for example, where you can download a plugin and you can actually click on that button to set up a meeting. Slightly different in so much as we have to create the meeting the standard way in Outlook, but then there's a button within that calendar marker. Click on that, turns it into a iPECS 1 meeting. But
massive step forward.
Slightly different way to approach the same end result. So, but I think a really good one for us, because it just enhances that whole iPECS 1 feature functionality,
and hopefully makes it a lot easier for people to use iPECS 1 as the collaboration tool. Which might be a more cost-effective alternative for people.
Agreed.
Okay, cool. Moving on. It's just a couple of screenshots actually of just to show you some of the iPECS 1 features that we looked at. So over on the left hand side, you can see that there's the reason codes, the extended list of reason codes that could be set through the admin tool that can be set. And then on the right hand side, it's the ability to be able to see which queues you can log into. So there's a slider there, so the queues can be set, your primary and your secondary queues that you can be a member of as an ACD agent, and then you've got a little slider to be able to switch on and off to be able to do that.
Cool.
Are we going to have a quick look at?
No, I just wanted to keep because I can see them coming in at the top. So
make sure that Josh is.
I'm sure he's all over it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very kind of him.
Thanks, Josh.
Yes. Good. You've ruined it now.
I know. So yeah, I think for this, it's more of the same really in terms of continuing that theme of how we are developing the platform. I think, we've talked a lot about ACD, but I think one thing we should probably return to here is the fact that I think this launch, this 6.0, I think more than any of the other features, updates that we've done since I've been working on the product, which is just over 6 years now, this feels like the update that really demonstrates the investment in R&D and everything else that we're doing around the product, to make it more widely, for customers with opportunities. I think this is the launch for me in terms of the breadth of what we're doing. But I think as we touched on with analytics, we follow through with that ACD theme. So now what we're doing is we're embedding call control and more supervisory functions within analytics. So the supervisor through analytics can now be monitoring the queues. They're able to change agent log off status. They're able to implement monitoring and whispering directly from within analytics. They've got that control over the queues.
So it's really going to become a dashboard for them to be able to manage their entire team and the queues that they're responsible for.
Yeah, so I think this goes back to the point we were just making about how, yes, we've still got contact in the portfolio, which we've brought in specifically for that omni-channel, full-blown contact center experience.
Yeah.
But what this is doing is helping to plug the gaps at the lower end where you don't necessarily have that full-on omni-channel requirement as a business, but you do need that ability to take calls into the business, manage queues, but have that supervisor involved, see some stats. But we're now embedding much more control for that supervisor within iPECS analytics. And then we've got some other stuff. I don't want to say it's minor, but I think compared to the ACD enhancements we've got coming through, there's just a number of sort of underlying updates that are coming to the reporting, which we don't need to go into in a huge amount of detail here. But I guess the key point, and I know we've been asked by a number of our customers on this call, is around consolidated reporting. That's probably the big one outside of all the ACD enhancements. So if you've got a big multi-site customer, which we know we've got a few of, and we've now got the ability for you to be able to bring all of those sites together from a reporting perspective and with analytics. So I think the thing to point out on that, by the way, is we will have like a process that we'll need to go through with the partners, because there's something that we need to do as a business to help with that consolidated reporting. So again, our account managers will be made aware of it in the coming days, but just to be aware that if you want to do consolidated reporting, there's a few steps we need to go through and help the customers. So
perfect. Good.
Yeah, and just some more screenshots really of what's going on within analytics. My eyes are not as good as they used to be, but you can see here we've got the log on, log off control. We've got the silent monitoring and whisper coaching control here as well. So this is all available to the supervisor from within the ACD group within analytics. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, final thing then is just about the licensing. So good opportunity just to reiterate how analytics is structured. So standard continues to exist. So for people who just want that historical access to reports and information about their extensions and their DDIs, absolutely no change there. There's also no change in advanced or advanced plus as far as supervisor licensing is concerned, or report licensing. So from an analytics perspective, there isn't any changes there, but the change is really driven here by a new ACD license, I understand.
Yes. So this is where that's the main reason we've put this slide in, is so we've got the current ACD license, which you need if you're going to do any of that ACD functionality. The new license, though, is required for any of the stuff we just talked about in terms of the queue control, the call control, And to be clear, it's one or the other. So you can either do, as we do today,
current
ACD license,
yeah,
or if you want to embed that core control, that supervisory functionality within the solution, you don't need the existing license, but you'll need the new ACD call center license in the price book.
okay, and we'll be making that really clear when we launch exactly what the new ACD license is.
Yeah, and I think, what date are we on today? The 27th, I think, or something. Is it 25th? I don't know.
5th or 6th?
It's near the end of October, but we'll be sending out the new price books soon, so that part number will be in there. Yes, and in the price book it will be within the analytics section, even though it's an ACD license, because it's analytics specific. Effectively, we've put it in the analytics section within the price book.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that is everything we wanted to cover. So in summary, I think it's a major release, as we've already said, you know, lots and lots of new features and functionality, that tight integration coming through from the features underlying on the iPECS cloud platform through to iPECS 1, and the way that iPECS 1 users are able to access and interact with those new features, but more importantly, how supervisors and users of analytics are now able to manage and control their queues and interact with their users that are part of their ECD groups
absolutely.
as well, which I think is just testament, really, when you think that there are different teams and development people within Ericsson LG working in each of those different areas. They're clearly collaborating really well, and you know, we've seen this evolve over the last few months quite significantly, and yeah, really think they've done an amazing job to get it where it is.
And I think, just to add to that, as you saw this morning, I've been going through all of the open feature requests we've got in a moment, and you know, we're already talking to Ericsson LG now about Cloud 8, and they've even mentioned Cloud 9 this morning. So, you know, it's just testament to the fact that there is a very strong roadmap, and we'll be updating our customers as and when we've got final clarification. But we should be in a position, I would say, probably later on this year, if not early next year, to start talking about the feature drop next year, which would be around about the March timeframe. So feature drop, in case anybody's not familiar with the terminology, that's kind of the new phrase for the minor update that will happen, and it's generally a smaller number of kind of key features that have not been able to be put into the major update previously. And then I think hopefully we'll also be in a position to start providing some information and clarity around Cloud 7. So, you know, there's it's a strange position for me to be in, because we're just about to launch Cloud 6, but I've kind of moved on from that about 3 months ago, and I'm already talking Cloud 7, Cloud 8, and even Cloud 9 this morning. So yeah, it's really powerful. I was just having a look through some of the questions that have already been posted. Actually, I think Josh has answered some. With the break reason code, can that be written reasons on iPECS when I see the agent? So the agent, so the break codes are controlled at
admin level.
Admin level.
Yeah.
So the customer would need to decide what break reasons they want set up, and that's what would then be viewable within the iPECS 1.
Selected from within
iPECS 1
and
client.
Analytics.
On ACD, will simultaneous ring be enabled? Currently, I believe this is not enabled. Josh might be able to help us with that one.
Is there?
Oh, yeah, sorry. No. Ring on. Yep, cool. Okay. What else we got? Can iPECS notify? Oh, Josh has answered that. Will that be reported on? Yes, I believe. I don't think Josh has answered. Oh, yes, he has. Oh, Josh, you're too good, man. You're too good. Well, if you be available.
See if I can drink your coffee later.
Yeah, I know. No, Josh has answered that one as well. Good lad. Excellent. Oh, this is good. Easy job for us, Helen.
Yep.
Notify an Apple Watch linked to the iPhone. Ooh, Malcolm, I have no idea. I'd need to look into that one. Yeah, let's get back to you on that one. That's the first time I've been asked that question.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
If we've got anything with this we can't answer now, we'll update you once we've had a chance to look into it. This might be one for Josh to help with. Will people retain positioning queue if they go to an agent who doesn't answer and they are returned to the waiting queue, so you don't get put to the back of the queue upon return? Josh, can you have a look at that one for us if you haven't already had a chance to?
So there's an answer. Apple Watch not supported.
No, unfortunately. Yeah, good. Thanks, Josh. You've answered that one already.
I think if it's been, yeah.
Can you mix licenses if there are now two? No. So the ACD licenses, it's all of one or all of the other. There's no mixture. Groups is the standard. Chance analytics can be stored on the platform. So Malcolm, that is an open question with Ericsson LG, and I just was talking about the open feature requests. It's buried in amongst all of the feature requests we've got in the moment. So I would need to do some clarification on that. No surprise when you see Cloud 7 eventually that probably 60% or more of the requests are going to be around analytics. It's a real focused product for Ericsson LG, but I'll come back on that one.
Might be also useful at that point to reference what the storage is on contact, so that might be another differentiator between how long data is stored for.
Storage on contact is essentially as long as somebody wants it for, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they had one for 999 years or something.
Price, but there's a reason for that when it comes to that kind of question, isn't there?
Would it be an easy way to swap the current ACD license without disturbing? Again, Steve, probably need to come back to you on that unless Josh has already picked that one up.
Upgrade from old ACD to new ACD.
Yeah. Let's come back to you on that one, Steve. I've got your email anyway from a conversation we had yesterday, so I'll ping your note back and we'll update everybody on some of these questions afterwards.
And Josh, very useful to add that one into the tech training as well.
Yeah, I think so. Are supported an iPECS 1 or sorry, just scrolling through here because I'm aware that Josh is picking up some of these as we go. Are all ACD features supported on iPECS 1 or are some limited to using a physical handset? I don't know.
That used to be the case. I think it's now parity.
Yeah, I believe it is, unless Josh has got anything different to add to that. But again, we'll double check that and update for you afterwards. Josh has answered that. Josh has answered that. It's better than breakfast TV. Brilliant. Helen and I have often said we've missed our calling in life.
Yeah.
So maybe one day we'll get what's the term, monetized on YouTube, and we can give all this up and get a desert island somewhere.
Cool.
So hopefully that's been a good. It wasn't, as I say, never intended to be a deep dive into the product. It was intended to give you a
flavour.
A taster, I think, to sort of see what's coming down the line.
Timescale. We've not talked about
sorry, yeah. So we've already started the upgrades. So I think everybody on this call is aware we've got we haven't just got the wholesale platform. There's other platforms out there that partners have got. So we've started the upgrade process. We're due to go live on the wholesale platform on the 13th of November. So we're a couple of weeks out, but we felt that this was the good sort of time scale to start dropping the information.
Yeah, all of this obviously coming 13th of November on the wholesale platform. So opportunities that are in flight, get talking to your customers, or look for opportunities to make sure you can say yes to more customers, which is a theme we're definitely seeing across our portfolio at the moment, which is really good.
Well, I think that's it for now. As I say, we'll monitor the questions. We'll have a look and see if there's anything that's not been answered and we're not sure of. We'll come back to you. But as I say, the account managers will be talking to you over the course of the next couple of weeks anyway. So get you ready, get you excited and geared up, ready for Cloud 6. Then we move on to the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us, and for those of you that joined any of our other webinars through October as well, we'll send out an update after this so that this is recorded. It will be uploaded to the hub, and any of the webinars are there for you to be able to review afterwards as well. So thanks again. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. See you later.
Take care.